All right. So, BJM, part two of episode 12. Starting off with TsumaSho, episode 9. Talk to me about how you feel about it.
That's a good episode. This story keeps getting more interesting, and I'm really here for it. Um, I really just don't enjoy, but it's really in a way moving to watch her struggling with the two families that she is now part of. You know, the one with the single mom
Mm-hmm.
and the one from her past. And now that she's realizing that she's basically stealing or robbing the little girl Marika's from her own childhood, memories, family, you know. She's really having a hard time with enjoying her time there. With her second chance. Um,
Yeah.
she has come. I also like that she has come to realize and has come to terms with the fact that once they do fulfill their goal, like they can manage, or she can see them that they're okay without her, like they they have move forward, with their lives, um, regardless of she not being part of it. I think she really, I know that she has come to the realization that that's what it needs to happen, and she's going to work for that to happen, and
Well,
it's really it's really moving, like I'm saying, because she's not really coming out to say it to them, but she's where her actions are telling them,
and telling us.
obviously the husband, and telling us, and and the husband seems to have gotten the signals, to have caught on. And that's why he's been obsessing with work,
Yeah.
like he's been like that is his way of not burdening her or telling her to, like he's already fine, like he's already moved. But obviously that's more of a cope mechanism, not really a solution. It's more
Yeah, he's
of a
coping.
medicine of
It's like a way to avoid the problem at hand, essentially. Well,
it's just kind of like
yeah.
it leads more, right? And it leads to what the wife is hoping for.
Um,
So that's really interesting to me.
yeah, I do. Like you said, she was taking like the actions she took were like the indicators that she wants to move on, and also we do get that the fact that she remembered how she came to possess Marika, which was kind of like
Yeah.
she
Mhm.
realized that she realized when she died that she wanted to be with her family still, and
Mhm.
basically she was just watching him suffer as she was like caught in between, this world and the world of passing, and
Mhm.
Marika just happened to come through a street. I guess Marika was also trying to like end it based on her life, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
or she didn't look to see that the truck was gonna be, or like that truck was gonna come and hit her, and Take pretty much saved her, which, and in saving her, she kind of like inhabited her body, but obviously we know that she kind of just inhabited it for a bit until she saw the house that she used to live in, and that's how we come
Mhm.
to the realization of that. And she's also like, not only is she feeling bad for the mom, but she's also trying her hardest to understand the girl that she stealing the life from, right? Because when the mom comes home from work, she sees her like
Mhm.
seeing videos of like their past selves, and it's like, can you tell me a little bit more about Marika, like I want to get to know her, right? And it's
Yeah. And that makes her question, right? The mom out the husband to like, okay, what's going on?
yeah,
Why is she acting this way now?
yeah, because she saw that she was
Right.
doing that, and then she kind
And then I really like there was a part that she says, she went to bed, and this is when the dad really really caught on, when she was telling him that she had gone to bed, and she had gone to bed crying, like, to sleep crying, and she just kept moaning and saying, sorry, 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 but she wasn't sure to who she was sorry to, if to her or to the girl.
yeah,
I definitely think it's both, because
yeah,
they're both, you know, yeah. So, uh, very moving, very moving.
yeah. I
I
mean,
really like that about this show, how even these two adults, you know, seek each other, especially her,
yeah,
to really try to come to terms with the situation. And it's a very emotional, intelligent show. Like I think it takes that perspective a lot,
yeah. It's
or at least being very considerate of other people's emotions to the point that they become aware enough to try to be emotional intelligent. Like they're not, nobody comes being that,
yeah. I definitely think this show
like,
does.
and learn per situation and try to act accordingly. So
Yeah, I
so
I
yeah, this show is really 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 unique in that aspect, and I really appreciate it.
yeah, and like you said, everybody has like their own coping mechanisms, right? The obviously the we don't get to see much of the girl's mother, Chica, right? And how she's coping with losing her, or like kind of like losing her child again, because she does we
Yeah.
but we know that Take is coping with like trying to understand Take, and
Hmm.
maybe like in that way, like when she's gone, there won't be like that big of a difference when in between the transitions. And obviously
Right.
obviously the what you call it, the daughter Mai, she essentially, I don't think we've really come to she hasn't really come to grips with the mom having to go, but she understands. I'm sure she understands at some point it's gonna happen, but
No, no, no. She yeah. She really hasn't. I feel like she's in a little bit of a denial,
yeah, she is.
like she just doesn't want to face the music, but she knows also, like, deep, 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 deep down.
Yeah, but
So,
and that's kind of like what the mother was trying to tell her, right? Like, because she's constantly trying to get her to like help her with cooking, right? So like the mother, writes her entire like recipes down. So like she's like at some point I'm
mm-hmm,
not gonna be around to help you cook. What are you gonna do then, right? So like it was pretty telling, and
mm-hmm.
also like the fact that she didn't even consider that the mother wasn't gonna be around for another year, because I think the mother asked her, like, because they're her and Renji are finally deciding to get married. They're uh they're essentially gonna do the wedding
Mm-hmm, yeah.
right at the end of like spring or something like that. And kind of the mother like looks back and her, it's like, yeah, I can't wait, kind of like giving her like a like fake smile, or like a smile for like comfort.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
and
a
because
force.
like she doesn't think she's gonna be around that long to see her daughter
No.
get married, which I hope not. you know I hope that the daughter realizes that she has to the mother really is gone, has to come. That's another thing, like this show just
Yeah.
kind of like trying to guide, kind of tell you like there the process that some people kind of like have to go through, like
Go
like
through for grief, yeah.
yeah. And that's another really intelligent thing that I think the show does well. And
Mm-hmm,
obviously you talked about it, the father dedicates himself to work. He gets like an extra
mm-hmm.
side side uh uh, side job within the company from like the person that first put him in his new
Uh-huh.
department. Kind of feel he says that he kind of owed him, but at one point you're kind of wondering like, no, you didn't. You're just doing this to avoid the situation, avoid facing the you know
Oh yeah.
the music essentially, right? You're He
Mhm.
figures like if he stays away long enough, then he doesn't have to get the closure that Take's leaving. But I do like that the office girl, Moria, is kind of like taken into more consideration now because she pretty much tells him like straightforward, like I can help you with all this work, so you don't have to like overwork yourself, and it's like
Yep.
you can do I'll do your job, and then you can focus on like the extra work that you got from the other guy, and that is
Mhm.
that even leads to him like still like arriving kind of late to Mai's like first actual like cooked meal, and
Yeah.
once he tastes it, he realizes it's like has the same flavor as the mother.
Tacos. Yeah. How sweet is that?
Yeah, and then that was like really nice because like it like brought him memories. It kind of like it's kind of like that's the that's like the first confirmation that he I think that's when he finally realized that like what am I doing, right? I'm just keeping Take here, you know, because of my own selfishness.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Well, that is. That is. He's a little bit on. And you know what? I like that. Actually, you reminded me of a very good part that transpired about that, which it was when she says to him that she admires the dedication he has for his wife, right?
yes,
And he just kind of like snugs like shunks like ugh like don't that's literally the issue that I'm having. Like that's literally what gives her a burden, that I'm so dedicated to her that I cannot get over it, and I have kept her here because she worries
yep,
for me about it, and it's really really it's really really good for him to know, because he is an adult, like he should be able to come to grasp and aware of of things like that,
yeah,
after
aware of his
a bit, like
emotions and his actions.
yeah, like yeah, exactly, and his choices, right, and how they affect them, and yeah, so
Yeah, I
so
mean,
I'm glad, hmm
I was just gonna say
I'm glad
that.
that Taka really really knows him enough
Yeah,
that she knows that he is trying, but she also knows that that's not it, that's not
yeah,
how it works, so
yeah,
she
yeah,
she she sees that. I think she has come to know that, okay, he got it, like he 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 realized it, like he's putting his own effort, know to
to move.
do his part,
Yeah, and
but obviously he's not doing it, the long lasting way. He's just coping with it. Yeah.
yeah, coping with it, putting it aside, not really dealing with it, and I think after the meal is like the first time where he kind of realizes, yeah, I need to like. It's probably his first realization of like him needing
Mm-hmm.
to really put things into action, and then of course we get to the Saturday work day that he's supposed to get it. He wants to get some extra work in, and he catches one of his coworkers there, Moria, the one that has been having lunches with them and stuff, and pretty much she confesses to him like, I love you,
Yep.
and obviously then he goes into the whole thing where like he then expresses how he's truly feeling about the whole ordeal, and is like, what I'm about to tell you is gonna sound
Mhm.
crazy. So like now we know that he's gonna tell Moria about this whole uh
I know.
possession thing.
I'm interested in that.
But
I, I am very interested in that.
me too, obviously.
How she's gonna take. I know she's gonna take it well. She's a nice lady,
Yeah,
It's going to add to the dynamics, how it's going to turn out, what's gonna change, what's going to how the what direction is gonna take it now.
yeah,
And
and
obviously, I feel like at this point they are gonna end up together, um, or at least dating,
yeah, I like uh,
Um,
like I think
so
like I said, like I think I mentioned to you once when she was introduced and she started like being more present, especially after like the firework stuff,
mhm,
that she's gonna be like the
mhm,
whole purpose
mhm,
of him like being able to like finally put Take to bed and be able to let her move on because he's gonna have found somebody
mhm.
else, kind of like what Renji did with Maya, right? And yeah,
Yep.
I'm excited to see how the talk goes. Obviously, Moria already has met Take. Even she's noticed that Take feels a bit mature for her age. So like I don't think she's gonna question too much,
Mhm.
but we'll see.
Yeah, and the closeness, right?
Yeah,
Always kind of question why, what was this wrinkle, but you rarely see them being that close, without being like something creepy or or something else.
yeah. So
Especially because their daughter is not the same age as her. It would be one thing
yeah,
if the daughter was similar age. But
exactly. But yeah,
mhm.
I think that'll be it for TsumaSho. Let's talk about something else. Yakuza Fiancé episode 8. Boy oh boy. Boy do we have a good episode this time for it. It
Yeah, wow. A lot happened in a way, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah,
Mm.
definitely a lot happened. I mean, back in
We
the
see that girl found the guy, right? And I mean, we know she's going to approach him. So
yep, I do like that.
that,
I do like that Yoshino knew that everybody there, aside from what's his face, was
hmm
Osu was the only one that did not know who she was. So she played into that part that he had no idea who she was to kind of get close to him and lure him out, essentially, right? And
yep.
basically she told Kirishima, you gotta follow what I'm about to tell you by order.
hmm
And he goes the complete opposite way.
I know, I know. Like, fuck this dude. Really, this dude is such a fucker. I
Yeah,
fucking saw it. I was like, this guy. Like, the one time you really could like impress her way, like get her affection or like
get her praise.
whatever. Anyways, yeah, exactly. Whatever. He'll do what he wants to do,
Yep.
and
So
he did. So.
yep, and we do find out that Osu is not even like the one that's really in charge of the whole operation. It was somebody else
Nope.
that's on top of that's higher up in the hierarchy than him, which he almost like pisses
hmm
himself. And the guy didn't say a single thing, which was funny. He just kind of like looked at him and he's like, "No, no worries. I'll get it taken care of." You know. And pretty much Hiroshima is playing a very, very how do you say, like, crazy game because he calls up Shoma. He's like, okay, so listen here. Yoshino is gonna be at this one warehouse that or like this one karaoke place that they sent us to. Don't worry though, if you if you make it there, she'll probably be safe.
Yep.
And in reality, he's dragging what's her name, Nayo, the other girl
Yep.
he was sleeping
The
with.
other girl, yeah, the other girl that needed help.
Yeah, so
The
pretty
one that was actually in that one that actually needed protection, because
yeah,
or wanted protection per se.
yeah.
Because Yoshino might need it, but she don't want.
No, I don't even think she needs it. I think she can handle herself. And not only that,
Yeah.
but this is her own backyard. So like I don't think, she has anything really to be worried about. But we do find out that the reason why they wanted Yoshino and Kirishima was because it was from the same people that they attacked at that one club.
Mhm.
And that's why they wanted both their heads. Uh but obviously Kirishima brought this girl in and kind of forced her to be part of the equation, even though she told him she didn't want to. And he's just kind of like, well, don't worry, the guy that's in there that's gonna come shave you is pretty strong himself. I can vouch for it. And she's like, are you sure? And he's like, well, I think so. You know, not very reassuring her. He just kind of like tells her, I guess he is. I haven't really
Yeah.
because he doesn't really know Shoma, but he figured, if he's involved in all this Yakuza stuff, he's gotta be tough.
And he is so. And we see that he is, and we see who he fucking fights, who goes there, who was supposed to fetch them or
Yep,
some shit.
is
The
the
curly perm guy.
which it's not a curl.
It's a perm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
You
god.
think this comes naturally? Like he gets
Yeah.
so mad because he takes such offense because he's like, this ain't natural.
Yeah. I do like that Shoma does get mad. Uh, Obviously, because Kirishima was like, first of all, Kirishima tricked them into going there, and secondly, it's not Yoshino; it's some random ass girl that he now has to. He's like, okay, well, if Kirishima brought you here, you kind of have to be part of the equation. And
Mhm.
and now he's also dragging her along with him, even though she doesn't want to. Once again, just being part of the problem. She kind of was about to start on Kirishima and Yoshino. Um, but yeah, the three guys that first come for them, he takes them out, and the perm guy is I love how they have the animation for him and Yoshim and Shoma, both of
Mhm.
them being really mad at each other, and
Mhm.
it just goes
For
to
no good reason.
yeah, for no good. Well, the other guy has a bit of a Shoma has a bit of a reason because he punched him, right, and Shoma like made fun of his perm, so I think they both have a reason. But this is not Shoma's more concerned about the fact that he doesn't know where Yoshino is, and that's why he's pissed because now this guy's on his way, and he doesn't really feel like he has the time to deal with this nuisance per se.
Mhm.
But speaking of Yoshino, she's just partying it up, with Osu, getting drinks, even though they're like non-alcoholic.
Getting getting all cozy with the enemy.
Yeah, and I mean,
Girl.
and she pretended to be this one girl that he knew from university or something like that went private, and pretty clever of her, not using her real name, faking being a college student, and then of course they call the guy that they're not at the warehouse and that they're gonna take matters into their own hands. So now he has to book it out of his time with Yoshino, and Yoshino's kind of mad at Kirishima because he kind of ruined her whole plan. And she basically, you know, tells him, like if you're not gonna be useful like this, you might as well just die. If you can't get the job done, just die here and there, and
Yeah.
solve my problems. I'll have somebody come pick up the remains, and nothing will ever come of this. And that just
I agree.
yeah, and that just basically
Turns him on for some reason.
yeah, it turns him on basically, and he's kind of like all right, I'll be 18 in November. I'm not saying that we have to marry right away, but you should date me after I get this stuff taken care of. So she's like, you can't even do that, right? It's like, it's like how are you planning to do that? He's like, I got some stuff. I just give me till midnight.
I
If
got my ways.
yeah, he's like,
Come.
yeah, he's like, give me till midnight. Let's make a bet. Like if I take care of everything by midnight, and I basically meet all the conditions you said, you're gonna be my girlfriend. And if not, you can have my life like you said. And it's a race against time for Kirishima, and Yoshino is just gonna have to stick to her word and be like, yeah, I'm we're essentially gonna see them dating because Kirishima, there's no way Kirishima's not winning this thing. All he has to take care of is like a couple, like, well, not a couple, a few bad guys, which he already beat prior. And then we also have Shoma that's still on his own, or like taking care of somebody. So I think
A toughie too. I think he got the toughest one of them. Perm guy. Everything.
yeah, he got the toughest one. Probably the one that would have gave Kirishima the most trouble, but now because Kirishima shoved the Shoma in the situation to face him, now that's no longer gonna be his problem. And then these other guys are just kind of like riff raff or whatever. But yeah, no, I really love how this whole conversation went down, and the eye change that Yoshino had when she went from like this cute innocent vibe girl when then she turned like her eyes turned like jello, kind of like Kirishima's and Shoma's do, and it just like, oh, this is the killer side of her.
Yep.
And me and you like talked prior to this, and like how things went down, and like we don't know how she kind of like knew where he was, right, where Osu was, but but this pretty much just set forth that Yoshino is a Yakuza, through and through. So like she has connections everywhere in the city, and she's not afraid to use them. So no, I enjoyed this like little toxic ass relationship that they have, and just overall,
Yeah, she ain't afraid of using it.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if they get married. I mean, if they start going officially.
Yeah.
And what's the other dude gonna do when he finds out about a little bit?
Oh, he's gonna want to kill. Well, he already wants to kill Kirishima. He might actually try though. Now,
Yeah, agree.
So, I can't wait till Shoma and Kirishima actually meet. See where that leads forward, and let's hope Kirishima ends up. Well, yeah. I mean, Kirishima's gonna win, but let's see how tough it is for him. And
right.
That'll be it for this episode, I think. Unless you want to add anything else.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's it. On to the next one. Nina, the Starry Bride, episode 8. So yeah, we have a race to be the king, and every king, or every prince, I should say, now has a right to conquer Nina, and they all have their own wings. Nina's allowed to visit any one of them.
And said she does not give a fuck, which makes Nina very upset and wants to like scoop around the palace.
Yeah, so
not per se to visit the prince, but just to swoop around.
Yeah, because I think prior to this, she was only allowed around Seth, and she didn't have her own like quarters. She had to share them with Seth, and now she has her own quarters.
Exactly.
And she's allowed to roam everywhere, so they give her a bit more freedom, but it does come kind of like at a sort of like a cost, because now everybody thinks that they can make her their possession, and
right.
The first
right, and they'll go for her and kind of kidnap.
Yeah, the one from the Black Wing kidnaps Nina and kind of tries to force her into into just staying in that wing. Like she has her own quarters there, but it's not really like very free. She's she has like guards outside, and she can't really go through the. She has to like kind of escape through the windows, I should say.
Mm.
And I, like I said, like I think I told you, like one of the guards that's around the prince is just the guy that plays Kirito, the voice actor in the sub version, and
Mhm.
I'm just like, oh, he could have been so much better as a prince.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
I know. I mean,
that kind of really that's like one of the first things I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is just something he took for like a little extra, but uh,
mhm.
Nina notices something instantly with Yor, and that's the fact that Yor does not like Seth. He's bath talking Seth's mother, who was a priestess, but still ended up having giving birth to Seth, right? So in a way, they kind of call him like the cursed prince because of what happened in his past. That she doesn't really want to believe other people's sides to it. She wants to hear Seth's side to it because people can make up any story about him and make it seem true, but the only one that really knows Seth's truth is Seth.
Yeah.
So she manages to escape from the black wing, and she runs into the other prince who's also trying to court her.
Yep. And thank God at that point, Seth wakes up and goes for her.
And he's like, okay, well, if I can personally have her, like I don't need her to be intact
Mhm.
fully, so I'm gonna make sure she doesn't run away. Let's just cut off one of her legs, you know. And in that moment, Seth comes in like
Mhm.
the prince he is, and
Mhm.
saves Nina. And pretty much they're like, hey, what are you doing? Like we're not supposed to interfere with each other's wings. And Seth's pretty much like, oh well, I just came to pick up what's mine, and he's like, it's not yours, like anymore. Like she can choose whoever she wants, and Seth's like, oh yeah, then
But he marked her.
yeah.
I
He's like,
think
well, I
so.
already marked her, you know. Oh,
And
and obviously Nina did not take too kindly to like being almost stripped in front of everybody, and Seth just took it like,
yeah.
well, it was just a tiny bit. I didn't really button it all the way down. But even like I love that even the Nina the parrot is also kind of like taking more a liking to Nina and also like lecturing Seth on her behalf now.
Yeah.
So I I do like that, and I do.
I know. It was such a cute moment, them. And then he was like teaching her, like getting her closer and like and and even the servants are say, right, like,
Yeah,
hey, is it me or have they gotten closer? It's like, oh, it's supposed to be that way. And it's just so very cute
yeah,
how they have gotten closer. So
yeah, and I do like
and
that.
she even said it, right, when before she left to scout or to look around, that she thought they had gotten
Yeah,
and that she was kind of hurt he was acting so indifferent when they imposed that.
yeah, and I do like that. And the Nina's like friend that she made
Hmm.
in the other country, she kind of points out to us that, well, this girl doesn't really treat Nina as if she's Nina's like lady in waiting. She kind of gives her like a cold stare. What's that about?
Oh yeah, yeah, right. She's always like keeping an eye on her,
Yeah, but
like
not.
watching her, but
Mm,
not watching her in a caring way. Yeah,
yeah, very.
she noticed. Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, and you know, of course, because Seth is just not really caring about what Nina gets into, she kind of goes out and meets the other prince, who kind of tries to
Hmm.
once again, like Nina notices right away when she meets the other princes, they're always trying to bath mouth Seth. He's telling her like,
Yeah.
he's a cursed prince. He's known nothing but battlefields. Like he wouldn't make a good husband for you, right? He's like, but that prince is not even trying to take the throne. He's trying to make Nina choose between your and the other prince.
Hmm.
So they all have it in for
And
Seth.
like he like said after the conversation seems he seems to be the hardest to figure out because you know the way that he kind of came to her, right? Like he came to her trying to appear that he is concerned because he is so dangerous
Mm-hmm.
and um and just not, you know, not what you would see a nice girl like her, to be with. And um and that she will suffer and all this dramatic things about it, how he touched the devil, he's like the, the war of God and blah blah blah. And she's really like um like not confused but really really not really understanding what this is about, like, and why he would care so much about her in that aspect, but he wasn't doing it in a caring way,
Yeah, I mean,
really think
it was
it was
just
about
she was just
caring.
really she just noticed that he probably wasn't telling the right stuff about Seth, right? Like not the whole truth anyway, right? It's just like she said with the prior princess, like they know of something, but she's only gonna know the full truth if like Seth kind of like opens up to her
Mhm.
and lets her know his side of the story. Which we do get
Mhm.
like Seth's backstory in
Yes,
this episode, and
that was really
he
neat.
we do see that he was pretty much trained to be a soldier, and he's never experienced like a single cut in all like his time in battles. And it's just that just made me think like, okay, well, the first time he really experienced like any harm in battle was to save Nina, which is kind of like touching. So like he cares about her enough to like put himself in actual danger. He just doesn't
Mhm.
realize it. And we find out why he doesn't realize is because obviously we find out about the priest that took him in after the priestess, which was his mom, passed away during child labor and stuff, and how this prince was pretty much
He was in love with her,
yeah, was in love with this.
obsessed with
Yeah,
the woman. It was really, really disturbing to even be told the setting of it, right? Like
yeah,
this priest was obsessed with the woman, and and obviously he's a priest, she was a priest, so the purity of her had to do a lot of why, of what made her her,
yeah,
and stuff. So the fact that the king, violated her or like took her and then put her in position that not just dirty her physically, but dirty her in society, and even killed her
yeah,
at the end of the day, like
yeah,
um it would it would seem to really um put or uh turn the relationship with that kid not as pure as you would think, it also was a violent one, and if anything it was most than anything,
yeah. Even
and
said this point out though there was times when he did treat him like a normal person, but like in a caring
mhm,
way. But he was always scared to find out which way he was going to be treated that day.
mhm, yeah, I really also think it was so disturbing, um the level of abuse, to the point that he was telling him to basically cut his veins and drain his blood
Yeah,
because it was yeah, it was his sin, that was
yeah,
that was the sin,
yeah, and
like
also
ugh.
to be left in completely alone for like a long enough time where Seth almost like died from hunger. So
And forgotten, and then just be told like, oh, oh, well, we're fine. You didn't die. Look how strong you are. Like, just forgot about you. Like,
Yeah, and
just breezing it off like nothing, you know? Like,
yeah,
damn.
and Seth
I
mistook
wonder.
like all these things for like love and like attachments and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and that's why he detached himself so much from
An
this
effect.
stuff. Yeah, it affected him because he then realized, maybe if
Mm-hmm.
this is how love and attachment leads to, this is an ugly thing. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
none of this.
Yep.
And even made more
I
aware
agree.
after the fact that even though he was treated in this way, when the priest died, he probably did feel a certain way, and he was like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this feeling either." And that's also rooted in, I guess, kind of like love. Uh, what is it like? Uh that's that syndrome. I forgot. Where you get abused but you still love the person because
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I
Stockholm
know what you're
syndrome.
talking about. Yeah, that syndrome.
Yeah, that one.
But for me, I also what was also very awesome, um, then we take, then it goes to Nina's perspective, right?
Yep.
And then Nina starts, realizing what you just said, like, damn, this dude only had that type of behavior shown as love. No wonder he closed himself up to the point that, he he doesn't feel anything, he doesn't want to feel anything. Like no he doesn't want to feel,
Yep.
he has no interest in feelings, whether they're called good or bad, like they all feel the same to him in a way, like supposedly what the beauty of love and affection and joy you get from a parent and and family, it was suffering and abuse to him,
Yeah.
so to him he just close. And I do love that she takes another step from that, she just says like, well, now I can see why you're so cold. You never felt warm, like
Yeah.
not especially from another person. And you can and when you're alone, you cannot provide that, heat. So you're cold. So it's only by someone else being there that you can feel that, that warm.
Yeah. And
And then that's what just kind of hugs him, right? Like just,
yeah. And
and then
before.
says that to him, right? Like, feel this. Like, don't you feel this? You cannot get this when you're alone.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, this warm, you cannot do it alone. Like, you
Yeah.
need someone else. Like,
Yeah. And she pretty much also tells us that, like, oh, so this is like because of everything that happened. This is where Seth chose to bury his own heart. Like
hmm hmm
this is where it all began, right? So like now she.
and then, as he, like, kind of feels, right? Like, you can see that at that moment, he has kind of like what you think a feeling, like
Yeah.
something moved him, right? Like the snow starts falling from down, like, oh, what is this,
Yeah.
you know oh, well, we're so close to the mountaintops that there's snow comes here,
Yeah.
she's like, wow, isn't it beautiful? Don't you think that that's beautiful? Isn't this place beautiful? And then he looks at the place, right, and sees that indeed it's a beautiful place,
Yeah. And then.
but what had transpired, it had become such an ugly place and even abandoned,
Yeah.
but she still, sees the beauty in it, and that it has, and it had, and it still has,
Yep.
and he's just kind of like
I love.
realizes like her perspective, it's what makes things seem different and feel different and be different, like
Yeah.
it really comes from how you approach and intent, your intent with them, right? The
Yeah.
aspect and perspective that you take upon.
Yeah.
And I really like that about this story because supposedly that's what she's trying to be portrayed as being because she's the priestess, right? Of
Yep.
stars, you know.
Hmm.
So, but the fact that she kind of pulls it off by just being a positive person, like moving forward person, it's what I really like about this. You know, I like that
Yeah, and
she's not really trying to be pretend to be her, and she doesn't even like the whole priestess like leave it up to the gods, let the gods, you know, like
yeah, but
the gods, you know,
yeah, and
will.
I gotta say what I love really about like the ending of this episode, aside from like the Seth coming to realization of that Nina makes things seem beautiful and he wants to
Mhm.
like share this perspective, right? And
Mhm.
it's the fact that Nina's showing him all these things, all the she wants to be like the reason why he's happy, where he's starting to feel more
Mhm.
emotions. But then at the end she kinda says something like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna have to keep lying to him about Alicia, about being Alicia. You know, so
Yeah.
she still feels guilt the fact that he doesn't really see her as Nina. He sees her as
Mhm.
that priestess that she's pretending to be. You know,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
so there's a lot of
Yeah, that
like
is. Yeah.
there's a bit of like
Yeah,
guilt.
but you know what? Um, when it matters to you like that, then you eventually, you know,
Yeah,
will come clean. You know, like if it really bothers you like that, then you're gonna have to come clean
yeah.
with it
I
and
mean,
see what happens.
he's already calling her Nina because she kind of lied to him
Mhm.
about that being her child. Not lied to him, but like told him that that's Alicia's like childhood name. You know, but
Mhm.
yeah, she'll. I feel like she'll have to come clean at one point, and I think it's gonna come closer, considering how the episode ends with uh them essentially getting a letter from the new king, us, and they're like, oh, where's he sent his messenger over, like you'll be able to have a chat with him, and it's actually him in the flesh that's there.
And she runs right, like
Yeah,
she has to see. She already knows the guards there, you know, in a way, because
yeah,
she was so close to Az, you know,
yep,
like especially because remember that right-handed guy
yeah,
from it too. Um, I think he is there too.
yeah.
So
I think they're
so um
all the ones close to us are there, and it's just interesting that she didn't. This is not something that she calculated would happen, and now that it's happened, she wants to know like what happened, like why he took such a drastic shift,
what
and
is he doing, right? What?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And also, just she
Goodness.
just wants to reunite with her actual love.
Yeah. At the same time, she just wants to see his little face.
Yeah. So good. This episode was so good.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love that it does end with, you know, as face, like just
Yeah.
like he she even says like, who's that guy in the hoodie in the back?
Have.
And then they put his like he put his
Yeah.
sight up, like his eyes up, and it just
Yeah.
a close up to his face, like damn.
Yeah. Good way to leave us on another cliffhanger with us 2 weeks in a row.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying how you gonna tease
but yeah,
that way?
yeah. That'll be it for Nina.
But they cannot get away with more teasing and not showing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
next episode we are gonna get some screen time for him. So
we should. I mean,
not just a fucking scene, like not just like a fucking like cut, like a scene cut.
yeah, hopefully. But let's let's manifest that into existence. The most notorious talker, episode 9.
Most notorious talker.
So we're kicking it off with no little Noel backstory before he became a hunter, I do believe, and it was him talking to like one of his grandpa's like right hand man for his old clan, and pretty much
Mm-hmm.
he was in the winery business, selling to make ends meet basically, and then the other guy was like a guild inspector that like really thought that Noah looked a lot like his grandfather just from like that few interaction, and we got some nice juicy like information out of that, which was that the the monster or like the lord that killed his grandfather and destroyed Noel's village is still looming around, and they even like showed photographs, and it's supposedly like one of the rare kinds of lords that like are don't manifest like in a long bit, like they take a bit to manifest, and they're usually like really strong that it takes like multiple like strong guilds or strong clans to like take down.
Yeah, so you're saying now that he's decided to build his clan, he had a flashback about one of the grandfather's allies who is in charge of basically,
uh
establishing the clans, or passing them.
yeah, the
So
inspector, yep.
yeah, so it was nice to see that little flashback from beginning, I also thought it was nice to see that he wasn't handing it to him, like,
Yeah.
although he can recognize that he has grown, especially above any expectation that anyone has, especially because he's a talker, but because he's the grandson of, that great man. So, he's done it, but as he was very honest, the qualifications for to to be a clan now, it's different than what it was before,
Well,
so
they said he met the
in a
minimum
way I thought,
requirements. He met the minimum requirements, but that now that things are like shaping up and certain things are happening, that they had to not be allowed to make any more allow any other people to pass essentially until like they had more recognition and stuff, because what's happening is like a mana is being built up where another like great abyss is about to occur. So that means that there's another like demon lord that's coming, to the surface.
well, the thing is that they passed, even though they have the requirements, the requirements are not that anymore. Like the minimum is not enough, you
Mm,
know.
yeah,
So
it's no longer
so
enough.
and and I, obviously, they all take it in their offended, while Noel just, and
Yeah.
like he's it,
So Noel and them.
they all reacted differently, and Noel, of course, wasn't just going to take it, even though it looked like that. He just kind of like took it, but he definitely saw the silver lining, like they say.
Yeah.
He saw that this will be an opportunity to really, really, really make a name for themselves, and we even saw that he meets one of the top strikers, or seekers. I mean, seekers. He meets one of them, and he's kind of testing the dynamic between the top ones, and he kind of notices that the guy has like a soft spot for being called the second best, because I've never really settled it with the other dude,
He,
and he's excited to just kind of overpass them both, like to just kind of like
I mean, he.
well, surprise them, like, okay, you guys had like this weird top, like, thing that there was not even a real number one between you two. You two both were top, but I'm gonna come along and just be the best of the best, because I'm gonna be best than you and you. So
Yeah. So,
so I thought it was
yeah,
a
that's
good pers how does it call,
well. Noel just
like not perspective, but approach. Sorry,
yeah,
a good approach to kind of show the dude, the knight of the clan, that he is, you know, beyond the requirements, because the people that are already in clans and are supposed to be the top,
yeah,
stronger than them. So yeah, I thought that Noel figure out the answer pretty quick,
yeah,
and that he's going to make it work for his benefit, and
yeah. I
I
think
like that about him.
what was really good is that this just reinforces that Noel doesn't want to be led. He wants to lead, right? And the whole reason why he even interacted with the person that's like number two was because
Mm-hmm.
they had already been scouting him and they wanted to recruit him to the clan,
Right.
and he
Mm-hmm.
pretty much said, you can't recruit me because I don't know if you or him are number one. It's like, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
chasing a number two, and then
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, he obviously needs to use them, but he knows he can't like really get them, so like instead he just has his buddy, the guy that like sold him out in like the previous arc, and then Noel, like said, no, you know what, we're cool now. He got him to get
Mm-hmm.
info on like all the C rankers or C seekers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
one of them was like the knight that was trying to recruit Alma, right? Like the group, the Winged Knights or something like that. They were like talking with Alma, and they were saying all these things about Noel and how he's crooked.
Yeah,
Like,
it was so interesting.
yeah, there were like all the rumors that were spreading about him being a demon, and that he sold his friends to slavery and all this other stuff, right? Meanwhile, they're like, oh, and he's recruited like two people or something like that, and they had
Mm-hmm.
no idea that one of them was Alma, and she didn't say anything because she's like, well, they're kind of right about that, some of that stuff. So she didn't really get mad
Yeah, I
about it.
mean,
but but yeah, just like he did with the two top seekers, pretty much he's gonna do the same thing with this group that was talking to Alma, where he's gonna target the soft spot of one of them,
oh, mm-hmm.
and
By the way, that new group, it's interesting.
yeah,
Oh my God, it's like he gets a target and then tunnel vision,
yeah,
tunnel vision.
yeah, he's gonna pretty much use their little group against each other, basically. Like, I think the top guy is has like just a way where people are like, kind of like in the same way that they viewed Noel. You know how like Noel's previous group viewed him, were in a way kind of like in that same way people like envy that guy, or like at least one of them does. and and yeah, the it wasn't a C tier, it was a B tier level seeker that Noel was looking at, and that's gonna be like his new victim before, and he's gonna use that to rise to the top, basically,
Yeah.
because I think he even like cut the time short of like when they needed to accomplish certain things, because they had like a year before they can be part of the Ractali or something like that, so they have to get results within 6 months to even be considered of being part of it. So he's scheming, but we love our scheming boy here. um yeah, I mean, other than that, I just enjoyed getting more lore on how the grand who the grand how the grandfather died and who killed him, and the fact that he's still out there. That just means to me that probably Noel's group is going to be the one that takes them down, and that's how they're going to be able to form their clan. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. I saw that. Yeah, they're gonna recruit that blondie.
Yeah, I think they're going to recruit him too. I think he's part of the
Yeah, they're gonna recruit that blondie, and that's just going to, help with becoming the clan, or being,
the
yeah,
strongest.
being recognized as a clan. Yeah, as a
Y-
strong clan. So,
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for Noel, win-win for us. We get to add more people to the squad, and he gets more recognition in the end of this. So we'll see.
Mhm.
We'll see how it goes. But that I think that'll be it for this one.
Yep.
Arifureta.
Arifureta.
All right. So we kick off right where we kind of left off with Hajime being the first one to like awake, and it was kind of like a nice little alone time with him. Kind of like reminiscing and really trying to show out for Yue and kind of like give her strength. Like I love how they have the music playing like kind of like the soft tune,
Mhm.
so it's kind of feeling
Mhm.
very like romantic-ish. And
Mhm. I agree.
yeah, and I thought we were gonna get at least US test. I think we said we were probably getting it, but we
Yeah,
but we didn't.
we
We
didn't
ended
get
up
nothing.
we didn't get nothing. We just
Yeah, we got a little bit of a talk. Like, what
yeah.
did you dream about? Like,
Yeah, I liked US probably the best for them because it was just like basically
him a king,
him a king
right?
and with like a bunch of
Yeah,
kids or something
and a
like
bunch of kids. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and they were
It's
like
so funny.
yeah
And then I like the other one too. What's the Tuffy one? Like the ninja looking girl.
yeah
Her having a dream with like her also being a princess
yep, and him being a
and
prince.
her saving him like a shiny like knight. Like
Yep.
it's just like I need to be saved.
Yeah, and I
So funny.
yeah I do like the fact that you and Hajime did have like we're about to have a moment, and Cher was just like coughing, you know,
I know, right?
like even and she's like
She
damn.
would.
Yeah, she's like, damn, not even my coughs mean anything. Like I'm just not even here, Poor girl.
Oh man. Oh man.
But I think hers was just the fact
Shucks.
that she met up with Hajime right before her family passed or something like that, and then they kind of just were together, I guess. And then of course we have Theos, which was just like the only reason why she was able to get out of it is because apparently the punishment was too small or was not enough for her, and that's how she knew it was fake.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the only one we didn't really
And
get.
the fact that he actually was nice to her, like happy to see her and everything.
Oh yeah, that was
She was
sweet.
like, yeah, she was so like happy to.
Yeah,
Like you can tell that
yeah, and I
she
did.
appreciates those moments because they don't come often in a ways.
Yeah, not with him, but also she kind of asks for them not to come that often. So you know, she
Yeah.
she gets what she wants in the end, regardless.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I like. I don't think we really saw what Kaori's was. The girl that's from Hajime's world.
Oh yeah,
She
I
was just
think
she was just really
yeah,
shy about it. She didn't really talk much about it. But just from
yeah.
the context, we knew that something with
So yeah, that it had to be with sexual and Hajime, I believe. I
yeah
think that's
that
all we got from that. Yeah,
yep. And I love how they were just like, okay, do we just leave the other people here?
I know, right? And they're like, well, we need to eat and rest, so I guess we can wait for them until we get that
Yeah,
done. And they were like about to because they were done with that
yeah,
when they woke up. So
yeah. They got so lucky, but and I mean, not that it really matters, but like I would have like at least liked to for them to have just another small talk to see what theirs was, which we can kind of like I guess infer in a way, right?
hmm
And because like later on we finally get to the next floor, and what are they like treated with, but slime monster,
hmm
which ends up covering all of them minus Hajime in like goo.
that was a very specific monster.
Yeah,
Like he was doing things on purpose and
yeah,
and creating, yeah, like it was a horny like slime or something.
yeah, because I think
Because
like
yeah,
after they finished taking care of it, they all had like the basically they were all aroused, and I think even
yep,
the guys were like having the most trouble like maintaining
Yep.
it that Hajime actually had to tie them down until like they recovered. And
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
yeah, I don't know, like I think he gave them like a serum to like kind of like calm them down afterwards, everybody.
Hmm.
and and I love how Tio is the only one that's not affected because she's just always like that. So
Yeah, which makes you question why is Hajime not affected, But
oh, he didn't get a single slime on him, that's why.
oh, that's right, you're right.
Yeah, he was clean. uh but yeah, what was really interesting is the fact that Hajime's like demon eye couldn't even detect it. It was just based off like instinct that they were able to really find it in the first place. So that was really neat. And then of course we get to the actual like dire situation of the moment where Hajime notices there's something in the trees, you know, or like the tree
Mhm.
branch, and it's a bunch of cockroaches, you know.
Oh my god, that was honestly that was so smart of the author to like
Yeah,
put like a bunch of insects as one of the worst monsters because for real.
yeah. It,
That
and
shit was that
is
shit would have driven me crazy.
no, yeah. After
I would
like
have died.
no, yeah, and then it's like the first time we've ever seen Hajime like actually feel like seem like he's had some fear in him, you know, because he can deal with all these like nasty monsters, all these like big monsters, all these tough monsters, scary monsters, but Kama Cockroach, he's just like, you know, a silly boy, you know.
Hmm.
And I love how they had to put up a whole barrier, and even Hajime was like, you know what, one barrier is not enough. I gotta like enhance this.
Yeah.
And my God, the it was like so kind of like crazy because then after a while the cockroaches were kind of like chanting and making circles. So now they were like forming like giant cockroaches,
Yeah.
and then they
Oh
like
my god.
yeah, those giant cockroaches. I would be with Hajime once they were like that. I would not be, you know, able to deal with a cockroach that size.
Yeah, for real.
And it's just not one; it's like a bunch of them that are coming out like that. So
Just glad they overcame, used
yeah,
the barrier,
yep.
and
And then they get
that little girl had a barrier. Then Yui, so they had like this like crazy double barriers.
yeah, they needed all that protection, but somehow it was still not enough because I think they got caught in a certain spell that made them all look at each other with the like as if they were cockroaches or something, right? That's how it ended. Like they were all pointing at each other about to
Ugh,
get ready to like end one another. So
ugh.
very, I love the kind of the tone shift that this episode had. Right, very like nice, romantic at the beginning, then really, uh, you know, silly towards the
Silly,
end.
but like fearsome, like
Yeah,
scary, like
yeah,
silly.
very Fear Factor-esque.
Mhm,
But
mhm, mhm.
yeah, but no, yeah, I've been enjoying this one a lot,
Me too.
and
Me too.
it's good to talk about. But that'll be it for this part of the episode 12. So uh, we will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you can, and until next time.
Yes.